Hi, all. I am coming to you from the kitchen of Red Oak Grove, so down in our fellowship room. And we think about home again this week for the second of 3 weeks. And when we think about home, you can't think about it and not think about food and not think about the tables that you gather around the community and communion that comes from eating food. I'm from North Carolina, so when I think of home, I think of like barbecue, like biscuits and gravies, vegetables fresh from my grandparents' garden, and cooking them together and eating them, and maybe fried foods because I am from the South and fried foods are part of Southern culture. But for a Midwesterner or for people who might be watching that could look like lefse or meatballs or lutefisk or um, rolapos or maybe you like tamales or different kinds of food that your family ate all the time at any special occasion or just for a celebration. And you think of that food when you think about home. When you think about gathering with people, when you think about gathering with your family, you think about food because typically food is involved in that celebration and that communion. And the biblical text is no different. In many places, we get celebrations like the wedding at Cana that involve food, involve a party, involve eating and drinking and having a good time. Or we can think about like the feeding of the 5,000, this story that centers on everyone having enough to be fed, with Jesus doing the miracles that gather all of these people together at a common table to eat with one another. Or even the Lord's Supper, like our year includes, the disciples gathering for a last meal with Jesus before he is taken and arrested and crucified. All of these meals in the biblical text connect one people to each other. They connect one another to Jesus. They connect one another to home. And if we have a home in Jesus, then we would assume that things like gathering around the communion table, which is a meal that we celebrate together, is considered home and considered home for Christmas. Even we do communion at Christmas, and we always have coffee hour together at church, and all of those things that make church home are also things that you think of when you think of church. And food is always something that we think of when we think of gathering together in different places, church included, for whatever celebration we might be doing. So this week, as we think about home for Christmas and we think about food and we think about gathering around tables and celebrating with one another in that way, I hope that you get to eat one of your comfort foods in the coming weeks, if not sooner rather than later. I hope that you get to eat things that remind you of home, whether that's cookies or lefse or whatever that fills you with warmth and joy and happiness, because then it reminds you of home. I know for us, we'll probably be cooking some good Southern food and talking to my family through the internet as we celebrate Christmas in a much colder climate than they do. But it is the things that connect us to one another is what we are talking about this year. And the thing that connects us around a table is food and our company. So this week, I hope that as you sit around your tables and you think about the ways in which eating and communing together looks like Christ, I hope that you remember that part of being home is eating well. May you have a blessed week of Advent.